Okay, hello everybody, and hello and welcome to Denise Pickburn. How are you doing today?
Not too bad, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, I am good today. It's half term in the UK, so I am barely working an hour a day at the moment, which is lovely. So I'm feeling very nice and chilled. Right, Denise, do you want to introduce yourself and let people know who you are, what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. That's a bit of a mouthful. So yeah, I hypnotize people so that they can get rid of unwanted behaviours and install wanted behaviours. And my niche is menopause. So I have a menopause program, which is 4 sessions of hypnotherapy, bespoke to the client, to get rid of brain fog, turn down hot flashes, get rid of memory loss, and just bring you back to being yourself and feeling amazing. So
Without
that's
HRT?
without HRT. It works with or without HRT. It's amazing. So I developed that because I hit menopause. I knew nothing about menopause. I thought I was losing my mind. I couldn't cope. And then obviously I'm a hypnotherapist, so I turned to hypnotherapy and there was no programs out there specific to what I needed. So I wrote my own, gave it to my friend to deliver to me, who was also a hypnotherapist, and that worked. And so then I've just been working with that and, honing that for the past 3 years. So that is my main offering, although people often say they're scared of niching down, and I didn't want to do that, but I was kind of forced by yourself and your group. I still get inquiries for lots of other things, working with children or fertility issues or anxiety and confidence issues. So just because my profile is very niched, it doesn't stop people contacting me and saying, oh, by the way, do you do? But, yeah.
That's a really interesting point, because one of the things that I think a lot of the hesitation. So we're gearing up for the next 5-day challenge, and obviously a lot of people come into my world who don't know who I am, never seen me, just clicked on an ad. We're actually running TikTok ads this time, so it'd be a different audience. Again, we do TikTok and Facebook. And I think when we go into the challenge and I start talking about picking one and picking a niche and selling one thing to one person at a time, I think people just find that really challenging. But like you say, it doesn't mean you're never going to work with different types of people or even sell different things to different people. But it's kind of just gives you that, I don't know, I haven't seen this feeling come over people, thousands and thousands of times. It's just like, oh, what a relief. I can just focus on one thing instead of trying to do all the things. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can get your name known for being that one thing. I get contacted now all the time via LinkedIn as a menopause expert. I'm not an expert. I just know quite a lot about it and how to treat it. But you get your name known just by posting regularly. I did struggle with that, thinking I've got to niche and I've got to post every day. And I may have admitted this to you before. I thought, I don't like this Helen. She's way bossy. And I'm bossy, so it doesn't sit well with me being bossed around. And I think I did a challenge maybe 3 or 4 times. I might even do it again because I always get something new from it. Always.
I love that. Yeah. It's very common, Denise. I hear it a lot. When I first met you, Helen, I just thought, what on earth? I just can't deal with this. And also, I hear that a lot, that bossy people find me really bossy. And it's kind of like, I'm normally the person that's like bossing people about. But actually, I think that energy works really well. Once you kind of like think, you know what? Once you start to see a bit of evidence,
just submit and go with the flow. And then you find it is really easy. And it all starts to come natural. It can be a little bit difficult, that first one, but honestly, LinkedIn is my favorite platform. I rave about it all the time. I keep telling people, go do this free challenge. I don't know how many people have, but I just post it in my hypnotherapy groups and that speak to people that I have as clients, because it really got me started on LinkedIn, and it's a gold mine. It is an absolute gold mine.
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm here to learn from you, right? Because I don't teach what to write on LinkedIn. I talk about themes, and I talk about my pillars, and I talk about not overthinking it and just putting it out there, right? And that's how people get started on LinkedIn without thinking. But you, Denise, the reason why I wanted you to bring you back, if you like, is like your content is fire, like so good, so good. Every time I see your stuff, I'm like, that is a banging post, like really good. Like, how would you say you've developed from, I don't really know what to post on LinkedIn, to I can post each day and think of something that's going to have an impact?
Well, I'm quite opinionated, as you've noticed, so that helps. But I have 2 jobs. I have the day job and then I have my own business. So the barrier I had to get over was speaking to the day job and say, I'm going to be using LinkedIn for me, not for you, for me. They were okay with that, and they contribute to my post. Just be yourself. If you think about something, post it, because people want to know you, but be respectful and kind in everything you post. Don't attack. But if people attack you, such as trolls, just realise they're really useful because they get your engagement sky high. I mean, I got a load of trolls on a post recently, got nearly 4 million views. And off the back of that, I booked in 5 of my menopause clients. I was just inundated with messages. So I'm going to have the best month I've ever had money-wise from LinkedIn because of that post that went viral. But even with trolls, there's no need to be unkind or disrespectful. Just call the behaviour out. And I'm quite happy to say, I think that's a very rude thing to say. And I think it's unfair. Or you're attempting a straw man argument. That doesn't work. That kind of thing. But just post opinions so people get to know you, and don't be afraid of controversy. Don't court controversy, but don't be afraid of it. I mean, I had another viral post when I spoke about Johnny Depp. That caused a lot of controversy, a lot of people arguing, but let them argue. It just gets your post seen. And then on the back of that, the messages I get are usually things like, I've seen you on LinkedIn. Can you help with? And usually it's people that haven't even contributed to the post, that I've never heard of, you know, and that's surprising because it's the people, somebody's always watching. People are always watching. And by posting your opinions and being yourself, you're going to attract the kind of people that like your opinions. And you'll repel other people, but that's fine. That's fine. You can't work with everybody.
I love that. I was like, just wanted to let that run because it's so powerful what you just said about having your own opinions that are in your own heart and mind is fine. Yeah. Be yourself, but don't try and be opinionated. Have your own opinions and be open and honest about it. It's so true. And I think that's what I love about your content is you can see it's coming from you rather than trying to game the algorithm and trying to get controversy. You can see it a mile off, can't you?
Yeah. Don't ever try and game the algorithm. Don't worry about the vanity metrics, although the metrics do help you. Just don't worry about it. Post every day and just post what you want when you want. It took me a while to get into video. I need to do another one this week. I get virtually no views on my videos, but they have helped. You get people saying, I've seen your video. Also, they're saved there, so you can direct people back to them. Yes. That's what I want to know what hypnotherapy is. But a little bit about yourself, so your opinion, a little bit about your subjects. I'll post about menopause. Obviously, regularly saying, if you want help, contact me. You've got to ask people to contact you. The odd video and the odd social proof. And yeah, it's those 4 pillars, isn't it? Just turning them around. I don't do them all every day. I post once or twice a day. Or if I'm irate about something, I might post a bit more. You know, but the 4 pillars do work. You've got to call people. Where I was going wrong with LinkedIn before was I was just using it to connect with other hypnotherapists. No point. It never occurred to me to actually add people I didn't know. And I think I've got 22,000 connections on there now. So quite a wide audience, mainly women of a certain age, which is my audience. And it's getting that wide audience, isn't it?
It's just like I said, this, like, these are my favorite calls to do because it really makes me, it shows me rather than tells me the impact that my work's had on. I can see you've taken my advice, you've got over your own like objections to me, and like just trust the process, do the work, giving it your own flavor, but you really are pretty much sticking to the process plan. And it's just and
just getting that ICA, your client avatar. I'd never done that before. And I've got about 5 pages now, so I keep adding to it because as I work with people in menopause, I think actually this element of this client is who I want to niche to. And you keep developing it that way.
It's a never-ending journey, right? Like people can't expect to be like you on LinkedIn now, Denise. If they do a challenge in November, they're not going to be as confident as you with what they're posting within a couple of weeks. It takes time, doesn't it? It develops.
I think this is 2 years in. I think it was just before COVID when I did the first one. So this is 2 years in, and it's taken a while to get the momentum. And you never know when the momentum's going to strike. That's the thing. I mean, that post I did was about Harry and Meghan holding his hand. I have no feelings for Harry or Meghan either way. I just thought it was sad that he was a little boy, had nobody to hold his hand, and now he's a man and he has. And it obviously touched something in people. But off the back of that, to get the response I did, I was blown away. But I have been getting a steady trickle. I do get, every day I get an inquiry, usually. Most days I don't.
There isn't it? For somebody watching this who's like, again, I've seen you on this video. You're getting an inquiry every day, pretty much. Most days.
At least one, pretty much. There might be the odd day I don't. And sometimes I do miss posting. If I miss posting for 3 or 4 days, it's not shown to as many people and the inquiries start to dry up. But you can get your inspiration from anything. If somebody said something on LinkedIn and you find yourself writing a nice long answer to them, just cut and paste that and set it as your own post. And you can always put inspired by Helen Tudor. My post today is about, because people love being tagged in things like that as well. So they'll comment, get shown to their audience, and you know, there's all kinds of things can happen. But I love LinkedIn now. It's my favourite platform. It's more respectful than Facebook. I've met actual friends from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know, it is my main source. 50% word of mouth, 50% LinkedIn, and it's just, I'd be lost without it. I keep thinking I should niche to other platforms, because if LinkedIn goes or ever get a LinkedIn jail time, I'm going to be a bit stuck. But I've not been put in jail yet, so.
Well, this is it, and you won't be for putting out great content. You know, that's what LinkedIn wants. You know, they want content creators, and they want people who are, you know, putting an opinion out, but like you say, not being divisive for the sake of it. You know, not being unkind. And I love what you said about trolls. You know, trolls are people too. Let's just, you know, it's just, you don't have to respond to them, and if you do, just be polite and take that higher ground. Something that I wasn't very good at a few years ago, definitely.
I've been there. I've argued back with them and taken, and that doesn't, you've just got to remember with LinkedIn that every word you put there is there forever in the public domain. So if you post with that in mind, don't drink too much wine when you're posting. I fall foul of that as well.
I would hate to look back through some of my comments, embarrassing really, but you know, we did what we do at the time. I just want to go back as well to something you said about having a job. And this is a really common question that I get asked. And I always say, you know, just go to your employer and just say to them, I really want to use this for this thing. Is that okay? I want people to ask for permission, not forgiveness. Because I always say this on the lives, don't I? I don't want anyone to lose their job over this. But actually, a lot of employers, if they don't actively expect you to use LinkedIn for your role, we'll be like, yeah, fine, do what you want over there. So I think once you get that, again, that mindset of like, can I use this for my own thing and have a job? I think that you absolutely can. And you're obviously living proof of that, which is great for people to hear.
I mean, you've got to expect to be monitored. I was monitored for a while. I knew they were watching, and that kind of reined me in a bit. Not that I'm ever particularly controversial, but I'm quite used to it now. And in fact, in the other job, I often get people saying, oh, I didn't know you were a hypnotherapist. I've seen you doing that. So can I talk to you about? And there has been a little bit of crossover.
Yeah. I always say that, but especially when people leave jobs and start their own thing, like, shall I get rid of all my contacts? I'm like, no, keep them, because you just never know who you know who might need the new thing.
Exactly that. I mean, I'm not going to mention the name of this person because it's somebody I dislike intensely, but he is very famous on TikTok. Right. He's famous for his misogynistic content, his anti-women content, but he did say that the ratio is 60% supporters and 40% haters, and he's actually quite right, because on those posts where you get people, this is not Facebook. I love those ones. You know, it does actually, it boosts it, and it's when you've had a big boosted post like that if you do a call to action straight after a post that's gone really well, that's when you seem to get people contacting you afterwards.
Yeah, I used to get a lot of people messaging me saying, oh, I saw it went down, like in the comments. I didn't want to get involved, but can you tell me a bit more about your program? And it's like, so it can be really, really powerful. I'm really about helping people get going on LinkedIn. I think this stuff is almost a bit like the advanced stuff, isn't it? The bit like when you've been on for, you've really got your feet. You start to see these patterns. And I think Mitch Miller actually said this to me when I was getting a lot of hate on LinkedIn. He said 50-50 to me. He said it's all yin and yang, 50-50, lovers, haters. You can't have one without the other. You know, you can't expect everyone to love you. He said, I think he might have said, if everyone hates you, that's probably, you might need to tweak your content. If it's like 90-10. But he said it's just part of it, and that's how you know you're showing up. And I think for me, I was just ruffling a lot of feathers, because obviously the LinkedIn training space had been pretty stale for a long time and pretty dominated by a few people who found me rather annoying. But like I say, 5 years down the line, I've lost that need to compete or prove myself. But so tell me about your LinkedIn journey with me. So how did you find out about me then?
I don't know. I think I just saw something on Facebook and I thought I'd give it a go. I'd qualified as a hypnotherapist. I was doing a steady stream of work. I thought I'd give it a go. And I didn't buy into it too much the first time I did it, because I didn't want to niche and I didn't want to be told what to do. And I did find you a bit annoying. So I didn't really buy into it so much. But I did start posting on LinkedIn, not using the 4 pillars. I didn't have a client avatar, just did my own thing, but I did start posting. Yeah. And then it came round again, and I just thought, knowing what it was about, actually, yeah, I should just submit to the process. What's the worst that can happen? And I enjoyed the Lives with Wine. It was a bit bantery. You were very open about your own journey in that as well, which I found really endearing, if I'm honest. And I started to put the work in and follow. And I got over my fear of niching and my fear of videos. Still don't particularly like doing videos, I'll admit, but I'll do them. I just found it started to work. It picks up momentum. It's very slow to begin with. The first 6 months, I thought, well, it's rubbish. It's not even working. And I dipped out and I dipped in. I was like, nothing. But then when you get that first decent inquiry, because my program's, well, it's just short of 500 quid. You get the first decent inquiry, like, oh my God, does this really happen because of LinkedIn? A random stranger who's a managing director in this company has actually contacted, and off you go. And then like that. But you do find if you post with the 4 pillars, it will come steady. And if you drop off, the inquiries drop off because the algorithm doesn't like you if you don't post. So it's just a case of being consistent. And I do post most days. 99% of the time I will post something, even if I don't feel like it. And there's times I've fallen out of love with it, especially if I've had a bit of a battering and, you know, a few people have had a go at me. You'll fall out of love with it and just post something.
Yeah, just keep going. And that's really what the mastermind's about. You know, if you think my training is pretty simple stuff, you can pick it up in a week for free. You can pick it up off a webinar in half an hour. The thing that I actually tell people to do isn't difficult or complex, but keeping the momentum and keeping the faith and keeping your vibe high and keeping the mindset. That's what people need to program.
But then the other thing is to engage on other people's content. So I think the mistake I made at the first time was just putting my own stuff there and not really engaging on other people's content. And of course, you need to do that. You've got to build
relationship.
Build a relationship. You don't just have to post about what your thing is. I don't just post about menopause, but see what interests you and engage with other people. And then they recommend you as well. So, you know, it's
interesting what you say about building friendships. I've made some great friends on LinkedIn. Really good, solid friendships, not just colleagues. And I think there are some great people. This is what when I do like mini trainings, I'm like, I just want you to have a think for the minute about all the people that are actually on LinkedIn and think about the opportunity, because it's got some real serious influential people. You know, the more senior you get, the more successful you get, if you like, the more likely they are to be on LinkedIn. You know, they're not sat at home, you know, on the sofa, you know, on the roll, kind of like going through Facebook, sell it, swap it, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? These are people who are serious business strategy people. And I would say, like, you know, journalists and opportunities like that as well are on there.
Well, I've had a guest slot on a radio station because of it. It wasn't talking about hypnotherapy. It was talking about paper dolls of all things, a bit of nostalgia. But I did actually get inquiries then off the back of that. So, you know, it's all swings and roundabouts, isn't it? There are some amazing people on LinkedIn. I had a Facebook page, I had some reviews on there. I was getting some inquiries from Facebook. My conversion rate on Facebook is maybe 30% because a lot of people who inquire from Facebook are, as you say, just sat at home scrolling. And they want a quick fix and they want it's cheap. Whereas on LinkedIn, if somebody contacts me there, my conversion rate on LinkedIn is very high. I've had 24 inquiries for this month and I've converted 20. And I don't sell, I never sell. I just tell them how I can help, and that's that. Because they're serious, they're business people.
Yeah, they're there to make a decision, a buying decision, because they're probably spending money on their own businesses themselves. You've had 24 inquiries and closed 20 of them this month.
Yeah. So, you know, so I've just written my figures down here. Bear in mind that my hypnotherapy is my side hustle, if you want to call it. Don't like calling it this, but technically speaking, it is. So this month, £75 a time. So that's my hypnotherapy cost. 20 inquiries. That's 2,400. Is it 2,475 in income? I've done 5 of my menopause programs at £495 each. That's 100% conversion. So 3,975 for this month.
Not bad at all, Denise. Not bad.
And LinkedIn, I reckon, has brought me between, I don't know, I didn't write the figures down. I've not kept them as such, but at least £20,000 to £30,000 over the past year and a half.
A significant additional.
Not bad for a bit of free training, is it?
That's not a bad ROI, that, Denise.
No, not at all.
Wow. And like I always say with these success stories, you got to take the credit, because I've trained thousands. I've trained 20 odd thousand people through that free challenge who haven't taken. I haven't taken. action. Not all of them haven't, but just me. And there's always 20% top people who do it, take the action when they're ready. Like you say, come to me and take a couple of challenges. But yeah, to go and do that, I mean, that's just incredible. Well done.
I mean, this next year, I want to sell one of those menopause programs a week and take the hypnotherapy income to £50,000 solely using LinkedIn. And then those people do go on and recommend you to other people. And I can't mention the name. I perhaps shouldn't even mention it at all. I've actually got a celebrity client. She's appearing in pantomime. No, she isn't appearing in pantomime. That's somebody else I think. She's appearing on TV in a kind of soap, I'll say. I don't want to say anything more because it's going to be identified. I really can't identify. And I shouldn't be starstruck, and I'm really not, and I really don't care what she does. But yeah, it led on from something else.
Wow. These opportunities, these doors open, and it's all about that visibility. And it's that consistency though, Denise. And yeah, you do write great content, but you're not a copywriter. Do you know what I mean? You don't write direct response copy or anything like that. You know, you just write from the heart, and you talk about who you are and what you do and about what's going on in the world, which is, like you say, just the things that come in through your head anyway.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, yesterday I posted about witches, and it was something that I'd not thought about. I'm interested in all this stuff, but somebody put on Facebook about the witch you see with the scraggy nose and the teeth and the hair was actually the result of these women being tortured. Anyway, it was a very deep post. So I put author unknown. These are not my words, but this really touched my heart. And it got seen by about 28,000 people. There's a lot of responses on that. And I've had three inquiries, which I haven't responded to yet this morning. So I'm a little bit late off the back of that. One of them starts with, from New Zealand, "Hey, my witchy sister, can I just ask if you work with somebody in New Zealand?" So because I do video work, I'm not limited to just Leeds where I live. Looks like I've got a client in New Zealand through that, just by posting about witches, of all things.
I love that. Oh,
the one thing I dislike, though, that I see people doing on LinkedIn, it's National Menopause Day, so I'll post about menopause. It's National this day. Everybody does it, and then your content doesn't stand out.
Yeah.
If you're following the pack, just for the sake of it, you also appear insincere if you're posting just because it's National Plant Day or National Coca-Cola Day. It doesn't have that sincerity about it.
Yeah, unless it's something you're super passionate about. But it's like, yeah, it's old school 101 marketing, that, wasn't it? Get your calendar of awareness days. It's a bit naff.
I did try it. I did try it to begin with, right at the very beginning, but you don't get a lot of engagement because you're not putting out anything different to anybody else, unless you've got a specific, really good story to tell. You know. And the other thing is you have to be a little bit vulnerable sometimes and tell your own story, which I still struggle with a little bit, to be honest. But I heard your story, and you know that I think if you can do it, I can tell a bit of mine.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Again, in the challenge, I tell my story, and every Wednesday, I think, surely no one wants to hear this again, but every Wednesday night, somebody messages me and say, "Wow, I really, that was really inspiring to me." I say my daughter's been taking my content and putting it into TikTok videos. She's 15, so she listens to a bit of the story. And we were in Morrison. She said, "Oh, I heard that bit where you said, and then I decided I was never not going to be able to feed my kids again." And I went, "Well, look, I've got a trolley full of food." I said, "We're doing all right, aren't we?" She was like, I could tell she was kind of like, it won't be really embarrassing, but actually, I think she quite likes it. So, yeah, it's really, really important. So, what difference has that money made to you, Denise?
Well, we just live a nicer life. There's no other way to do it. We go on holidays, we live a nicer life. I drink wine when I want. We went to see Billy Idol night before, concert. Yeah, we'll go. So I'm not having to think, oh, so we're staying in a lovely cottage again in June. You're just not having to think about having the money in the bank. And importantly at the moment, because I have had times where I've been really, really poor and, and I had to choose between heat and eat, I don't have to do that. And it makes me sad that people are going to have to do that. But I've got that cushion there now. We've got a little bit saved up. And we fancy a holiday. We've got 3 booked next year. Not doing anything fancy. I'm not jetting off to New York and the Caribbean. It's 2 UK holidays and 1 in Cyprus. But it's just that bit of peace of mind. And it's given me the impetus because I know next year I can really push and get that 50,000, which is a bit scary and a bit exciting. I've got mental blocks there, which, I can work on. But I think I can do it because I was shocked when I just looked back at the figures today and thought how much I have actually made from LinkedIn.
It's such a
it just makes a difference. It makes a big difference between scraping a living and worrying about things going up. And actually thinking, well, we are just going to do what we want to do.
and you'll never be on a fixed income again. You'll always have that ability to go and make more money, and that's the real freedom, I think. I'm not talking about 7-figure anything. I'm talking about knowing that you can put offers out and make £500 if you need to.
Well, my thing is, my business doesn't have overheads other than if people come to see me face to face, I have my clinic room cost to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's video call, I'm sat on the sofa doing hypnotherapy, same as I am talking to you. I have no overheads, so it's all money in the pot.
Yeah.
But it's been a life changer. I'm not, and I just want to say, Helen hasn't paid me to say this or even asked me to promote a business or anything like that. This is something I just think everybody should do, because there's enough business out there for everybody, you know. And LinkedIn, the people are there if they want to do business with, and the people on LinkedIn will pay your price. The other thing that I learned from yours was, when I first started, I was probably charging 55 quid. It might have been 60 for a hypnotherapy session, which is what a lot of people charge. But to have the life I want, that's not what I needed to charge. So the price went up to £75, and the cost of this program went to £495. And I was like, oh. And the first couple of calls, I'm like, well, actually, the cost is, you know. But nobody has ever thought of paying it. If they want help, they want help.
Yeah.
You know. So you get that on LinkedIn. From Facebook, it's a bit different. People are like, oh, well, I'll come back to you. And yeah, I've just stopped bothering too much with Facebook, to be honest.
I love it. Have you got part of it, Denise?
Yes, yeah. I got married 3 years ago.
And what do they think about you being on LinkedIn all the time and getting these links?
Do you know what? I don't actually spend a huge amount of time on it, Helen. I go on in the morning and I look at notifications and I try and engage. I set myself a target of engaging with 10 people. And I do that. And then I might look at it during the day, and then on a night if something happens. But I don't have, oh, I'm going to post today this, I'm going to post that. I've got little post-it notes, which is one of the things you recommended, with my ideas on. I've got an A to Z of menopause for when I'm feeling a bit uninspirational. But quite often you get your inspiration from LinkedIn itself. When somebody posts something, and then you can post about that. But I reckon I spend maybe between half an hour and 2 hours a day on it. 2 hours if I'm bored and I'm not particularly working, and I'll put out more stuff. But I don't see it as I have to do it. I'm not on LinkedIn all the time. No. So I mean, for a return on investment for half an hour to an hour a day, it's just, you know, you could pay Facebook ads and write copy and put out newspaper articles if people still do that, and it'd take you a lot more time than just faffing about on LinkedIn. And it is faffing.
It's just hanging out on there. You're just hanging out on there. And you just never know, that one comment could just get you in front of that person who just changed your life, you know. And it's the opportunity is exciting, I think, for LinkedIn.
I think it is. And there's so many people just watching. There's so many people just watching, not putting out content. And they just sit there in the background and it's, I've seen what you put on LinkedIn. And, you know, off you go. I reckon, I don't know what percentage, but the majority of my inquiries are people that say things like, I've seen what you've written on LinkedIn, and it's people I've never heard of, never come across.
Yeah, never ever. I get that all the time. It's that famous line, isn't it? I've been watching you for a while. But they're sold as well, aren't they, Denise? Like you say, your conversion rate's high because you're not selling to them. They've already decided they want to work with you. They just want to get the
But especially with what I do with hypnotherapy, by the time somebody's coming to me, it's quite often a last resort, and they're just desperate for the issue to be fixed.
Yeah.
So there's no, and I wouldn't dream of trying to sell to anybody. It's just not, you know, here's what I'm offering. You can take it or you can leave it. If you want help, I'll help you. But I enjoy LinkedIn now. I'd miss it. When I wake up in the morning and go on my phone, the thing that I go to first is LinkedIn, not Facebook, not TikTok. It's LinkedIn.
Yeah, so that's your place now. That's where you hang out. And if I just said that to you 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you'd have thought I was mad, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't like it. I just thought it was boring. I had hypnotherapists, which are great. I love my hypnotherapy friends. But I had hypnotherapists who were all putting out the same content to each other. Yeah. Just the basic like that, and it was boring. Yeah. You know. And then when I was for the other job, there's a lot of people in that industry posting out things like, "Oh, I love my job. It's Monday morning, yay!" And you're like, "Oh, no, you don't, because I work with you." And I hear you. So there was all that kind of thing going on, which is not particularly authentic, that I didn't like. And it was just adding people that I didn't know who have actually become friends. Yeah. That's been a real good thing. Getting over that barrier of, well, I don't know this person, but what's the worst that can happen? They reject your request.
Yeah, I love this. You're better than me at this stuff now. You could teach the challenge in November.
I'll probably do it again because I think I've done it 5 times, Helen, and each time I found something new from it.
Yeah, good, because you're different That's why I'm the same. Well, it's not the same because it changes every time. The core's the same, but obviously the lives are a bit different. I'm evolving. Every live of wine I do, every quarter we do it, I'm changed. You're changed. So it's a definite movable feast. And like say, your mindset's always shifted. Like, because 2 years ago I said you'd be taking a couple of grand a month, like on the regular at LinkedIn. You'd have thought I was like insane. And now, you know, in 12 months' time, when you message me and like, can we do another call because I've just crossed 50K by November, you know, and we can celebrate that. So you're always evolving, and what was really out of the realms of reality for you is now reality, and now you're ready for the next level.
It's nothing to take a couple of grand from LinkedIn each month now. That's standard. To take nearly 4 grand this month and perhaps maybe a little bit more isn't standard. So that's exciting, but it's given me that impetus to push on for a bit more. And it's not being greedy. It's just a case of this is what I can do. You know, helping more people each time. So rather than thinking about it as a monetary exchange, it's just the more people I can help, but at a price that means I don't have to be working every hour of the day.
Yeah, and I love the menopause work that you're doing because it's so needed. And it's all those people out there that need your help and all those lives that you transform. And this isn't just about you making money, because the more money you make, that means the more impact you're having, the more people that you're helping. And these are people that, like you say, coming to you desperate, really needing your help. You're able to help them in a way that involves or doesn't involve HRT or whatever else they need you for. Change their lives. So you're just out there changing lives, getting paid for it. I mean, it's the ultimate win-win. And LinkedIn is just the vehicle to bring you together. Those people that need you and you, it just brings you together. And I think I really want people to look at it that way rather than, you know, oh, it's something I've got to do.
I've LinkedIn though as well. I've done my will from a will writer from LinkedIn. I've bought art gifts. In fact, my bedroom is covered by a certain artist's artwork that I'm just absolutely obsessed with. Yeah. So you know, it works both ways as well. I've recommended people to others. I got approached to do a menopause program in the workplace, but I don't really like corporate work because I find corporate paying is not. I don't like chasing for money, so I just like to be paid when I do the work rather than waiting 3 months. So I've passed that inquiry on to somebody I know who can do it.
Nice.
And it's all that circle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the ultimate networking platform, really. You know,
and it's really good if you're quite shy, because I might appear confident on here. This is my stage voice, if you like. I am quite an introvert and can be really shy. I don't like networking in person.
Yeah.
You know, it just spins me out. Whereas, okay, I go on LinkedIn, I might post the odd selfie so people know what I look like. I've actually put some lipstick on today. I did change, but that's about it, really. So even if you are a bit introvert, it's just a case of getting momentum, isn't it? And just posting every day. Just post something every day and be you.
Just get started. That's the thing, isn't it? Just get started and then just be consistent, even when you don't see the results straight away. Obviously, I get asked all the time, you know, why aren't I getting more engagements? Why aren't I getting more likes? And I'm like, just keep posting and keep doing more likes and engagements on other people's posts and it'll come. But you do have to go through that, like you said, probably, I would say 3 to 6 months of like, this isn't really.
Yeah, it was quite quick that I got my first inquiry. So that spurred me on. And then I got the odd one. And then I thought, is this really worth it? But it was more that I wasn't using LinkedIn to be me. I was posting things that I thought other people might want to see. Because they say talk to your ideal client, but you have to talk as you to your ideal client, not try and second guess what your ideal client wants to hear. That was the mistake I made. And then it was about 6 months in and started getting a few more. I was like, I've made £500 this month. This is nice. What should we spend it on?
Yeah.
And now it just, a couple of thousand a month is not unusual. And then October's been a fantastic month, which has spurred me on again.
Oh, it gives me goosebumps, Denise, because it's just so.
I have a lot to thank you for. I am a bit of a fangirl. I send everybody to your free course, and I always say, look, there's no hard sell at the end because there isn't, but this will change the way you use LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's it. That's all the mission's about now. It's just
there isn't anything else like that. I've done a couple of other free courses. There isn't anything like that. And there's other courses out there that have copied your methods, as you'd expect.
I don't, you know.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean,
and also, I'd rather people use my methods and taught my methods than methods that don't work, because I know my methods work. So
you can always tell a Helen Pritchard bleak Tudor person because it says helping.
Yeah.
The other thing, add all the other people that have the word helping in their title because they're going to accept you. So you'll definitely grow your network that way.
Yeah, exactly. If you search on LinkedIn for helping ... you find a lot of people. It's like my legacy, all those helping headlines, thousands of them. Yeah.
So I've kept that because I think it works. I didn't particularly like it at first, but I've kept it, and it tells people what you do. You are helping them to do da da da. Whereas nobody really knows what a clinical hypnotherapist is.
No, and it's so generic. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do? Do you hypnotize people to look like chickens, or what do you actually do by putting that helping women in menopause too? Yeah. It tells people looking straight away.
I love that.
In fact, one of the inquiries I had this morning was a gentleman who says he's seen my post and his wife needs help. Can she ring me? Yeah. So it's not just necessarily your ideal client that's going to contact you, but loved ones of people that might. So yeah, I think it's a game changer. It's a life changer, in fact, and it's a really great way to get business because I'm not having to get up and put a suit on and walk into a room full of people I don't know and try and sell to them or let them sell to me because I hate being sold to. I can just go put as much effort in or as little effort as I want to, but I want to put the effort in. I want to post. I like the engagement. I like the conversations, mostly.
Oh, Denise, I could talk to you all day. It's amazing. I just love your work. I think you've, like I say, you took it around with it. You're getting the results, which is amazing. I know 100% you're gonna go past 50K.
Do you know, I think you personally are responsible for millions of pounds worth of revenue generated because I'm just one person that's done that course. If you start, and I know there's a lot more people, a lot more successful. If you start and add that up, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And that is my legacy. Like I say, that's the ripple effect of me doing the work, and that's why we do so much for free, so people can go and take it and get the results they need. And then a percentage of those people invest in my program, and that means that I make, great money.
It just goes around, doesn't it? It goes around.
And I can help more people.
There's so many people out there like myself. You're training a genre like hypnotherapy, and then you go out and make money. You don't know how to make that money.
Yeah.
You're not trained in the business skills side of it or the marketing side of it.
No.
You're told to put counter doctor's surgeries. It doesn't work. This is so effective. Yeah, it's a game changer. It's a life changer.
I love that. Well, I'm a reflexologist by trade. I'm a holistic therapist by trade. And when you do your qualification, that's it. They just go, right, you're qualified. You go. And they don't give you any business training whatsoever. Like, they should all link to my free 5-day challenge,
I send people to you for that reason, because I've done 1 or 2 so-called marketing courses and days afterwards, so-called aimed at hypnotherapists, and they're poor. One of them was even talking about newspaper adverts, and it's like, what? Why? Who reads newspapers these days? Talking about getting an advert in Cosmopolitan or something. But no, why would you do that when you can do this for free on your sofa?
Yeah.
And at the same time.
When I say to people, like you said, you do like sort of 10 comments, and then sort of challenge yourself to do 10 engagements. So I talk about that, maybe doing 30 throughout the day. People are like, what, 30 comments? I'm like, how many cups of tea do you have? Like, I'm just on my phone while I'm waiting for the kettle to boil. Yeah, exactly. People, like, you just build it into your life. There's no, you can be anywhere in the world doing it. So it's very.
People spend that much time on Facebook very easily. It's just a case of switching over to. It's nicer conversations on LinkedIn. You're not getting people. There are aggressive people, but they're not as many as on Facebook. So it's nicer conversations. And if you just post with politeness and kindness and integrity, you're not going to go wrong. Just remember that it's always in the public domain. So don't have lots of wine and get aggressive with anybody.
Yes, Helen.
No, I've done it myself and argued back, but not anymore.
I know you don't want to be like if you're adrenaline spiking because you're waiting to see what someone's writing back to you. You're definitely having the wrong kind of discussion.
But I do love those comments. This is not Facebook. Indeed, it's not. Oh, my favourite response nowadays is, "You are invited to join the LinkedIn, please. Please apply to."
Yeah, someone should make that.
You have a bit of fun with them, can't you? And it's only 2nd and 3rd degree connections doing that, but they are widening the view of your post.
Yeah, they are, for sure. They are, definitely.
No, it's life-changing. So thank you for this opportunity to speak. It's been a pleasure. It really has.
What would you say to somebody who's thinking about joining the free 5-day challenge, Denise?
Do it. You've got nothing to lose, absolutely nothing to lose, and thousands of pounds to gain. And if you don't like it, don't do it, but just go join it, because LinkedIn works in a very specific way, and this is the way it works. And it's a goldmine, and you're missing out on loads of cash.
Yes.
And who doesn't want a little bit more cash? Even if it's just a few hundred quid, you're missing out. So it's a big return for absolutely no investment of money and a little bit of investment in time. And if nothing else, it just sharpens your mind as to what you can get from LinkedIn. It's very underused. I think it is. A lot of people I know that do not know how to use. Oh, well, it's boring. No, it's boring because you've made it like that. Yeah. Comment on people that you like. Put that hashtag in. Hashtag, I don't know, holidays, whatever. find people talking about what you like to talk about, comment.
Yeah, it's these. I get it a lot, obviously. You know, I hate LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, fine. Would you like it if you were making 100 grand a year out of it? And they're like, oh yeah, I'd like it then. It's like, well, you know, you got to meet it halfway. It's just a benign platform.
There's this perception from people that if you're on LinkedIn, you've got to be posting only about business and selling. And it's not like that. That's a very small part of it. You've got to be yourself.
And it's true, and that's what you're so good at, which is why I wanted to bring you to chat to you, because I think you've really nailed that. And anyone watching this, please go and follow Denise and ask her to connect, whatever, and just watch what she does, because it's kind of subtle nuances, but it's very, very good. And it's very good because it's Denise. It's not Denise trying to be a market on LinkedIn. It's Denise.
I can't market. I can't sell. Just be yourself and don't be afraid of having an opinion.
Yeah, that's it. And I love that about being kind as well. It's very important for all of us.
And keep away from politics. Don't do politics.
Dishy Ricky, we're not talking about him.
We're not. We're not.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So if people want to find out about you, Denise, and they're, you know, maybe they're struggling with their own menopausal symptoms, or they've got other problems that they think you might be able to help with your hypnotherapy, how do they find you?
Well, it's on Facebook as Happy Minds Hypnotherapy. You can search me on Facebook as Denise Pickburn, because I am the only Denise Pickburn on Facebook. And I am also the only Denise Pickburn on LinkedIn. So I'm very easy to find.
I love that. So go and find you, send you a message, and I'm sure you'll get
I've got my husband to thank for that very strange surname, but there you go. It works. But yeah, easy to find on LinkedIn or Facebook. So happy to help.
Lovely. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Denise. I think you're great.
Thank you for your time, Helen. Lovely to speak to you and to meet you as well.
Lots of love, darling. See you later.
Bye. Take care. Bye.